I'm back. Well, I know it's been a while since I made a video. I actually wanted to make this video a while ago, but I just got busy. But I want to talk about the 2018 Cleveland Browns and tell you why the 2018 Cleveland Browns are going to win at least 8 games this year. You ready? Let's do it.
Bang, man!
I want to do that, man.
I do.
Let me bang,
I
man.
do let you bang. Hey,
Let me bang again, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Let me bang.
Let you bang.
2017 Cleveland Browns finished in the NFL with the worst record in the NFL, went 0-16. The team was led by DeShone Kizer for 15 of those 16 games. He posted some pretty terrible statistics. He had 2,800 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 22 picks, so he did not have a good season at all. He's been shipped off to Green Bay to back up Aaron Rodgers. So, as you know, in the offseason, the Cleveland Browns picked up Tyrod Taylor. So I'm not a big Tyrod Taylor guy, but one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't turn the ball over. My big knock on Tyrod Taylor is that he doesn't take chances. And that's good and it's bad. But looking at his statistics over the years in Buffalo, I mean, he's been a pretty conservative, but like I said, he doesn't turn the football over. He had a pretty good running game while he was in Buffalo with LaShawn McCoy, who had 1,100 plus yards and 6 touchdowns. But receiving-wise, I mean, there was a lot left to be desired there. So his leading receiver was his tight end Charles Clay in Buffalo. He had Zay Jones, who I like and I think is going to be good when he matures and gets a little older. He had Kelvin Benjamin towards the end of the year, but he wasn't 100% anyways. He had Deontay Thompson, who's gone and is now with the Dallas Cowboys, but he didn't really have a lot of options in the passing game. So I think now that he's in Cleveland, I think that's going to open up. So Cleveland, taking a look at some of the moves that they made in the offseason, they got Tyrod Taylor. They drafted Baker Mayfield, who I don't expect to start immediately, maybe next year, but in the future he's going to be good. So they drafted Baker Mayfield. They also got Chubb, running back, who I don't expect to start over Carlos Hyde because they made a trade for, I can't remember if they traded for him, if they got him in free agency, but Carlos Hyde, who I don't think is an every down back. He hasn't shown that he can stay healthy enough to be an every down back, but they would potentially make a good 1-2 punch. And they also got Jarvis Landry from Miami, who in my opinion is he's right up there with Odell Beckham. He just didn't have the kind of looks that Odell Beckham got. I mean, they both came from LSU. They both have great hands, very good feet. So he should be he'll have an opportunity to make some good plays here in Cleveland this year. And then remember they had Duke Johnson, who was actually the leading receiver for the Cleveland Browns last year, coming out of the backfield. Who his entire career, I don't know, 4 years in the league, he's been a very good receiving threat out of the backfield, and I think that's going to open up the run game a lot. If they can get him in there and sneak him out of the backfield and throw some balls to the wings, that's going to help out a lot. Like I said, the 1-2 punch with Carlos Hyde and Chubb is going to be tremendous. And then you still have Josh Gordon when he comes back. Rumor has it that he's in good spirits and he's going to be back 100%. So you have Josh Gordon, who is top 2 in the league in receiving over the last 4 or 5 years. Jarvis Landry, Corey Coleman. The offensive line, there's some question marks on the offensive line, but if they can put together even a somewhat decent offensive line, this team's going to be pretty tough. Then you go to the defensive side of the ball, and you have Myles Garrett, who I think he's going to be awesome if they can get him some help on the other side with Ogba. Christian Kursky is one of the best linebackers in the league, and he's a Pro Bowler. Jabril Peppers. So they're going to be tough. And then we'll look at their schedule last year and how they fell out. They actually didn't do too bad considering the fact that they had DeShone Kizer starting with no real threat besides DeShone Kizer. Josh Gordon came back. I think he played 5 games last year. So they started out last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very close game. They lost that game 21-18. So, I mean, and that was usually Pittsburgh is. I mean, usually it's a pretty good game either way because it's a division game. So they lost the first game 21-18. Baltimore Ravens, they lost 24-10. Colts, they barely lost 31-28. The Bengals, they were blown out. The Jets, they barely lost 17-14. Blown out pretty good by the Texans. Titans, they went to overtime and lost 12-9. Got beat up pretty good by the Vikings. Lost pretty good to the Lions. 19-7 to the Jags. Lost again to the Bengals. Lost to the Chargers, but only by 19-10. Went to overtime with the Packers, 27-21. And then lost to the Ravens again. Only put up 3 points against the Bears, and then the Steelers again, 28-24. So it's a very close game with the Steelers, both of them. So looking at their 2018 schedule and the games that I think they could potentially win, so they open up against the Steelers again, and that's going to be at home in Cleveland. I think they lose that game. I think they'll start out 0-1. Then they have the Saints, and that's in New Orleans, and I think that's going to be a loss as well. So I think they'll start 0-2. Then they have the Jets, and that's going to be at home. I think they win that game. They have at Oakland. Once again, I think they win that game. I don't think Garrett Carr is what he used to be. Then they have the Ravens, and I think they win that game. So I think potentially go on a 3-game win streak there, and they'll be 3-2. Just because, and that's all contingent upon whether or not Flacco's starting. If Flacco's starting, I think they win that game. If they have RG3 or Jackson in there, then you know, all bets are off. But so 3-2 there. And then they have the Chargers again, and I think they'll probably lose that game. So they'll be 3-3 at that point. Then they play the Bucs. Not a very good team. I think they'll win that, and that's in Tampa. I don't care where it's at. I think they win that. So make them 4-3 at that point. Then they'll play in Pittsburgh, and that's going to be a really good game. Should be a tough one, but I think they could potentially win that game. I'm not convinced that Pittsburgh is. I'm not going to say they're not that much better. I think they're a better coached organization, but I just think that Cleveland is they're on the come up. So I'm going to give them that game. So that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5-3. So we'll be at 5-3 at that point. Then they play the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes starting, and that's at home. So let's give them that one, 6-3. Then you still have the Bengals. I still think they're going to split. That's going to be 7 games there. They're going to lose to the Texans. They'll lose to the Panthers, and they'll probably beat the Broncos. Yeah, I'm not sure how the Broncos do, and then they still have the Ravens again. And if, like I said, if Flacco's, so I think they're gonna win. I'm gonna call 8 games. It may be 6, it may be 7, but I'm gonna say 8. I feel pretty confident that Cleveland can make it to 8-8, maybe snatch a playoff spot. That'd be awesome if they did. I hope they do. I would like to see Tyrod, sneak into the playoffs his first year. That's going to put a lot of pressure on them for Baker Mayfield next year, depending on if they're able to do that. I mean, realistically, if they win 5 or 6 games, it's probably a success for that organization. But why not shoot for 8? I think it's doable. Looking at the schedule, looking at the talent that they have, so my prediction is 8-8 and sneak into the playoffs. I think they'll finish second in that division behind Pittsburgh. I think they'll finish definitely above Baltimore, especially if Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback, and I think they'll finish above the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton. So yeah, 8-8. I think they can do it. I hope they can do it. I would like to see them compete for a playoff spot, and I would like to see them challenge the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not because I have any animosity towards the Steelers. I just want to see them on the come up. So let me know what you guys think. How many games you think they're going to win? What do you think they're going to look like this year? Yeah, and I will make another video. I got some other things I want to talk about, so I just want to switch it up a little bit and talk about something other than the Cowboys, even though I love my Cowboys, but it's getting that time again for football. Training camp started. Fantasy leagues are starting, so let me know what you guys think below. Talk to you later. Peace.